In the late 1960s, a maniac murdered his way into the media spotlight. He was not aiming for 15 minutes of fame, but for years of nationwide publicity. He named himself the Zodiac in his blood-stained communications. He demanded publication of his bizarre musings and habitually indulged in extortion and terrorism. He shrewdly manipulated readers by providing cryptic clues to his identity, yet swore that the police would never catch him. He used a gun, he used a knife, and he varied his actions to such a high degree that nobody could predict where his demons would guide him next. It has been observed that his actions carry an uncanny resemblance to those of Jack the Ripper, perhaps the most famous serial killer in world history, and many researchers have called the Zodiac America's Jack the Ripper. Hi, my name is Sjoren, and on July 4th I published America's Jack the Ripper, the definitive account of the Zodiac Killer. In this video and others to come, I will share some of my findings, but first I want to make one thing clear. The Zodiac has not been identified. In recent years, several books have been published in which the authors purport to have identified the Zodiac and thus solved the case. However, if we take an unbiased look at the evidence, it is clear that the Zodiac has never been identified. For instance, as documented in the book, the Zodiac left fingerprints and palm prints, and these have never matched any of the alleged suspects of the case. Consider this. On October 11, 1969, the Zodiac killed cab driver Paul Stein in San Francisco. After shooting him inside the cab, he wiped it off, inside and outside, according to 3 witnesses who happened to observe the crime by chance. The police would later find prints where he had attempted to wipe off the cab. Some of them contained traces of blood. Several years ago, I contacted the former lead investigator, Dave Toschi, and asked him if they took elimination prints and excluded those present at the scene as the source of the fingerprints. Toschi answered yes. He then went on to describe the meticulousness of the technicians. The cab was towed from the scene with the crime lab following behind to make sure no one else touched it. The next morning, the crime lab took many prints. The fact that they obtained elimination prints changes the low probability that an unrelated individual left the ones in question to approaching 0. To this day, these prints have, without exception, ruled out all alleged suspects who had their prints compared to them, meaning that the Zodiac is still out there, dead or alive. Dave Toschi concurs. Police have enough fingerprints from the Stein murder scene and from a Napa County telephone booth where Zodiac once called police to make a positive identification if he is captured or surrenders. In addition to the fingerprints, there is also evidence in the form of handwriting, DNA, and ballistics. If the Zodiac is ever captured or identified, we will know with certainty. My book, America's Jack the Ripper, the definitive account of the Zodiac Killer, is not about the purported suspects of the case. In fact, they are not discussed at all in the book, as the Zodiac clearly has not been identified. My book has nearly 700 references and over 200 pictures, and it is the first authoritative book on the Zodiac case. If you are interested in the facts of the case, then this is a book you would want to read. In the book, I documented the case with scholarly objectivity and dismantle the Zodiac's psyche and answer major questions by means of statement analysis, linguistics, handwriting analysis, and the established principles of psychology and criminology. Among others, I present compelling arguments and evidence that Zodiac likely started his reign of terror as far back as 1962, and that he might have been a Canadian. My book is now available on Amazon.com. Due to the current world situation, Amazon.com is not shipping to all countries. If the book cannot be shipped to your destination, you can also order it from my publisher's website, A link is provided below. Dr. Mark Hewitt writes, "This is a must-read for all dedicated students of the case. No Zodiac library is complete without this brilliant work."